We bottled the game. We absolutely bottled the game. To concede 2 goals late in the second half. I mean, I'm sorry. In like very avoidable situations too. I don't know what I was seeing in that final 30 minutes, 20 minutes of the game. I felt like the game management wasn't there. I felt like players weren't playing as well near the end. I felt like they were getting quite complacent actually. We were making some good opportunities in this game. And I just feel like recently, the details in our game at times, like the concentration is not exactly the same as how it was from last season. And I'm looking at the game, I'm thinking, why am I seeing Malang Sarr and Saul on the field? What kind of subs were they? Why am I still seeing Aspilicueta on the field? And I don't even mean to come out and disrespect the club legends. A guy has been very good for us for many, many years now. But I've got to keep things real. I feel like I've been watching this decline steadily, week in, week out, especially during the second half of the season. And, of course, Tuchel had words about Trevor Chalobah. Of course, he has had mistakes in his game recently, which we see. But, I'm sorry, man. We all see Trev making those mistakes. But you can't act as if he doesn't improve as the game goes on. You can't act as if he doesn't do that. He's constantly doing that. Like, he doesn't make that same mistake twice in game. It's like he knows what he did. Now he needs to fix that. And when he gets more confidence, it gets even better. I don't understand why that results in him being out of the team when experienced players like Aspie, I always feel like the experienced guys are the ones who create these mistakes and they constantly get the benefit of the doubt all the time. It's one of those weird things in football where if you're young, you make a mistake, you're out. If you're experienced, it's like, it doesn't count for some reason. I don't understand. But again, Aspilicueta with another poor game today. And of course, poor performances are going to affect your chances to win. It's not making too much sense to me, to be honest. I understand there were some injury concerns. Players are very tired at this point in time. That makes sense. I get that. But I'm sorry, the way that we did not control the game, it was poor. And it gets me thinking exactly what would TODD BOEHLY have thought after watching today's game. We all know he is destined to become a new owner. I'm incredibly excited. I'm going to have a lot of content out over this next few days as well to just talk about this takeover in even more detail. But I hope he watched this game today and he was like, okay, I need to get a DM. I need to get a winger because Timo Werner is very inconsistent. We're going to have to get another defender. I'm hoping that he's just surgically cutting through the entire squad, the entire team. We know that when he comes over, when he finally takes over, the first thing on the agenda is to sign players up on contracts. Mason Mount, Reece James, they shouldn't be going to their final 2 years or 3 years. He needs to safeguard their long-term futures right now, given that big pay rise they deserve, because they're the future. And I think in games like this, man, there's certain players that we could potentially move on from if we do want to compete against, very, very top quality rivals in Liverpool and Man City, where, 2-3 seasons in, but still nowhere close. So that tells you just how hard it's going to be to crack that top 2 in the PL. If that's going to be the case, it's going to involve Tuchel having a squad in his image. Normally, and I'm always a bit more sympathetic towards managers. Yeah, I have been critical of Tuchel, but at the same time, I do understand that when you're constantly having to just make new adjustments all the time because your plans failing because players are injured, X, Y, Z, poor fitness, etc., etc., then I understand that there's going to be more room for error at times. But as well, these times do define the manager as well too. And I just think recently, maybe with the whole takeover, his personal life, etc., etc., I think, listen, I can understand why it wouldn't be as thorough as maybe as last season. But nah, man, I just did not expect this game to end like this whatsoever. Lukaku today, 2 goals, 2 excellent goals. First with his left from the penalty spot. This is a guy that hasn't missed a penalty since 2017, and me personally, I respect that Jorginho is the #1 penalty taker, but I think strikers, especially if they're good from penalties, they should be taking them, because if you have a poor game, but your team wins a penalty and you're able to take that and convert, that's going to give you some confidence at least for the next game, because it's a very high pressure position. You have to be mentally confident if you want to be at your very best. And I don't know, personally, I'd be giving a lot of these penalties to Lukaku because this guy is one of the best when it comes to taking them. So you'd feel maybe next season that could be something that's worked upon if Jorginho is not going to be here, of course. But I do think now that when we got some confirmation that Lukaku is probably going to be here for next season, that makes sense. He costs a ton of money. We can't just get rid of someone like this when there's no market for him. With new ideas, new tweaks, I feel like there's definitely more life in Lukaku. And I think maybe TODD BOEHLY would be seeing this today thinking, this is a guy that we can still build around. I saw great qualities today. If we can add some addition to this squad and this team, we can make him more effective and hopefully get him the service he needs. Because I think today he performed because he got that service. Now, of course, the penalty still, for me, still counts as service. He's able to take that, convert, but he won that penalty by himself. Saiss, you know, all over the place. For some stupid reason, has flicks his leg out. Maybe it's like a reactive thing. I don't know, but Lukaku takes advantage of that. And from how I was seeing this guy in the TV camera, it's clear that he was gonna score that goal. I felt very confident. He did, 1-0 up. And the second goal afterwards, you know, in that second half in particular, before the final 20-minute collapse, we were really winning a lot of balls moves half and forcing a lot of counter pressing situations. And Lukaku, of course, quick service which he demands. It's one touch and then second touch, right-footed. Bottom bin curler, and it's that type of finishing that none of our players really have, maybe other than Mason, Ziyech, Kai, for example. But up front, we don't have that type of player, and this is what Lukaku has shown this season. He doesn't get as much service, but the few times he does, he's able to take real advantage of these moments and these half opportunities. And I think he's got 14 goals now. He's our highest scorer in the league. He hasn't been terrible, you know. He scored in the final of the Club World Cup. He's done some things, he's won us some games, you know. There is more to come from the player, and I think TODD BOEHLY is something that he would definitely be keeping an eye out for and looking to see what he can do to help. You know, going on throughout the game though, let's talk about some of the moments. I don't want to talk about those Wolves goals. They're great finishes, I have to say. Great header at the end as well too. You know, the manager, man, low-key underrated in the league. Got them playing, got them competing. A very difficult team, and they seem to be like Tuchel's bogey team. Like when Tuchel first took over, Wolves was his first game. It was like a really boring, scoreless game as well too, and we don't tend to get too many results against them. So that has to become something different for next season. But yeah, you know, so I think for me, some of the controversies really came from the officials. It's crazy how things don't go in our favour. I think Timo Werner, it was incredibly harsh to be able to roll that out against him, to give that as a foul. That was Saiss milking that. He took advantage. It's obvious, it's clear. Why didn't that go to VAR? That was like a perfectly constructed goal. You know, Lukaku being one of the key guys in that. You play that type of quick passing with him, Lukaku's in his element. That's how it works. Great pass by Cover, who, yo man, I'll talk about him later, but Werner, that was a great goal in my opinion. And of course, VAR continuing to not work in our favour. I thought Ruben, as well from that set piece, was a perfectly fine goal. I thought he had a good game today, Loftus-Cheek. We'll talk about that collapse later on, you guys, don't you worry. But yeah, I thought he was very good. He definitely deserved that goal. Stupidest or finest of margins. I don't know, until this tech has 4K quality cameras with 120 frames per second. I'm sorry, until this technology can output this video in 4K, 120 frames at least, I'm sorry, you can't be going to that minute detail like that. There needs to be some error of margin, because yo man, I don't think it's not as accurate in my opinion. It's not as precise just yet to really be calling off super marginal decisions like that. Crazy. Back in the day, these are goals, and I just think that so many of these goals are allowed for moments like this. It's mad. But you know, it definitely showed the threat we had throughout this game. I thought that Cover and Ruben were quite decent for large portions of this game, I have to say. We don't really see these guys playing too much together, but you could definitely see more creativity. And I do think that Werner and Lukaku in particular are really able to take advantage of that. You know, Werner drifting to the left channel, Lukaku having more freedom, drifting to the right hand side. You know, that's what he's asked for. That's how he performed at Inter Milan. That's what he wants here. That's what he was told he was going to get, essentially. And I just think that, you know, Pulisic as that camera behind the free roll, threatening game, not amazing, threatening game, but that forward movement, our midfield was able to find their runs quite a few times with some very good passes and behind, good through balls. Cover in particular was playing a nice selection of passes throughout this game today, and I felt you know, Wolves in particular, we always really struggle to break their blocks down, but having mids like that who are able to you know, receive under pressure, you know, they're offensive, play passes forward a lot more. I thought that they were good for large portions, but I just think as the game was going on, maybe the inexperience of them playing together, the fact that they both want to you know, be the ones to break forward more. I felt like we were just too exposed at times. Like we really forced trying to get that third goal, which I understand. You know, I'd imagine Lukaku wants to be getting that service. You know, the Timo Werner today, you could have done your boy a lot better for you, especially when Lukaku has set you up how many times this season. But yeah, I just think it was combinations of that, fatigue as well too, and complacency. The midfield kind of lost some of their responsibilities. The structure wasn't as on point, and I think the first goal that Wolves scored, for me, it's a big mistake from Kovacic. And you know what? If I could do one thing, I've always said this for years now. I've always wanted Kovacic to be like our Thiago, in the sense that, you know, his progressive runs from deep are nice, but you know, unless you're playing counter-attack all the time, you're not always going to get something from that, even though it's going to help you play out from pressure. But for me, like, to go to that proper next level, I thought his passing, that has to be the thing. Like, if he could learn to maybe dictate the tempo of games a little bit, you know, I think sometimes, especially when it comes to like wanting to get more goals in the game, he can be a bit rash at times and forget his responsibilities. And you know, to get caught on the ball that easily, you know, to forget that the Wolves guys are behind you, putting pressure on you, was really lax, in my opinion. And it's no surprise that you're going to be getting exposed with 3v2s when, you know, you're losing the ball in an area you shouldn't be, when your teammates are out of position looking to transition to attack. So that was poor. That wasn't that good. But of course, you know, we don't have a lot of guys in the team currently to help in these situations. So it was always going to be a bit of an ask. So for me, you know, you're hoping that maybe the subs, the game management is going to be the thing that helps us. I think when it was 2-1, it was obvious that we had to make things a bit tighter. It was really weird for me to be seeing Malang Sarr. No surprise that he doesn't get tight enough to close the cross down. But even seeing Drev coming on doesn't make any sense in my opinion. Saul, I mean, I get it, of course, we needed numbers in midfield in the end too. But I mean, the fact that this guy's been fully fit all season and Tuchel's never turned to him, what does that say? TODD BOEHLY, this is another detail you know he's definitely seen. I need to get a better squad for this guy, because the moment he has to rely upon the rest of the team, the quality level ain't the same. And it didn't help us as the game was going on. So yeah, man, a lot went down in this game. A lot of moments, talking points, everything. Ultimately, we didn't get the win. I feel like we deserved it, just on like the averages over things we're getting over Wolves. But you know, it kind of sums up the level we're at. We are the third best team in the country. Expect third best results like this, and you know, let's hope, man, that we start to find some form, and at least the positives that Lukaku was able to get some goals. So thanks for watching, you guys. There is going to be another video after this review. I'm Nini FC, this is Blue Lions CV. Catch you guys later with some more videos. Cool.